The recall notice didn't describe blood. It described foreign material. In early October 2025, in the United States, a supplier warning triggered a nationwide poll. Great Lakes Cheese Company Incorporated, based in Ohio, initiated a voluntary recall after being notified that raw material used in shredded cheese could contain metal fragments. The products weren't specialty items. They were everyday bags of shredded cheese, sold under private label brands like Good and Gather, Happy Farms, Great Value, Hill Country, and Publix Italian Blend. Distributed through Walmart, Aldi, Target, H-E-B, Publix, and other major retailers across dozens of states. By early December 2025, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration classified the recall as Class 2, meaning exposure could cause temporary or medically reversible health effects, with serious consequences considered remote. That language is clinical. The experience isn't. Metal in food doesn't need to be fatal to be real. A sliver can cut gums, crack teeth, leave a wound behind once the moment has already passed, and the first open loop appears immediately. How does metal reach consumers in one of the most monitored food categories in the United States? Sealed, labeled, and distributed at national scale. The public statements describe what the system did next. Isolate raw material. Identify affected lots. Notify retailers. Remove product from shelves. The response is fast. The language is disciplined. But this is where the pattern sharpens. Physical hazards don't behave like bacteria. They don't multiply. They don't change smell. They wait. In this case, the contamination was linked to supplier raw material, upstream of packaging, upstream of labeling, upstream of the point where most controls are designed to intervene. By the time the recall notice reached consumers, the product had already moved through homes, kitchens, and meals. The system responded correctly. The exposure had already happened. And this wasn't an isolated national failure. The same mechanism appears again, thousands of miles away. In 2013, in Japan, food manufacturer Kewpie Corporation announced it would recall approximately 480,000 bags of packaged products, including burdock root salad, pumpkin salad, and pickled cucumber. The reason given? Concern that metal and rubber fragments may have entered the food during production. These weren't ingredients meant to be cooked later. They were ready-to-eat salads, opened and eaten within minutes of purchase. Why does the same physical hazard reach consumers even in foods designed for immediate consumption? Kewpie's recall was widely reported in Japan, and the company moved quickly to remove affected products from shelves. But the details reveal something important. The fragments weren't introduced deliberately. They weren't the result of fraud. They weren't the result of spoilage. They were mechanical. High-speed equipment, continuous operation, components under constant stress. A blade edge wears. A seal degrades. A small component behaves normally, right up until it doesn't. The consumer doesn't see the process. They only experience the outcome. In one reported case, the contact was immediate. The realization came a fraction of a second later. The injury closed quickly. The memory lasted longer. Not a meat grinder, not a cannery, a salad bag. By now, the pattern is forming. Different country, different product, same failure class. And the third case confirms it across another regulatory system. In Canada, the Canadian Food Inspection Agency issued multiple recalls for bread and bun products after pieces of metal were discovered in baked goods sold across several provinces, including Ontario, Quebec, and Newfoundland and Labrador. The affected brands were familiar: Country Harvest, D'Italiano, Great Value, No Name, Wonder. The products were staples: sandwich bread, buns, items eaten daily without hesitation. The hazard wasn't theoretical. It was physical. CFIA notices instructed retailers to remove affected products and advised consumers to avoid consuming them. Public statements emphasized that injuries had not been widely reported. But once again, the timing matters. Bread is often consumed days after purchase, sometimes weeks. The injury is immediate. The attribution, often isn't. The fragment may not be kept. The packaging may already be gone. And that gap between sensation and report is where the system loses visibility. How many incidents never make it back to the authorities tasked with counting them? Across the United States, Japan, and Canada, across dairy, salads, and baked goods, the pathway repeats with quiet consistency. Metal fatigue in equipment, gradual wear, not catastrophic failure. Fragments small enough to evade routine controls. Products shipped before detection. Visual inspections are logged once per shift. Detection systems are calibrated to balance safety with production efficiency. Regulatory thresholds define what is unacceptable, not what is impossible. The safeguard is real. The tolerance is intentional. To regulators, this is compliance. To manufacturers, it is risk management. To consumers, it is harm without warning. The recalls work. The system responds, but only after the metal has already traveled. The unresolved issue isn't whether food safety systems exist. It isn't whether companies respond. It's who decides how much missed detection is acceptable before someone gets hurt. Because in every one of these cases, across 3 countries and 3 food categories, the metal wasn't invisible. It was allowed.